So we're going to start in standing with our feet together. And we're going to turn our feet out 10 to 2. Lift our heels up and bring them out as well. So we're standing with our feet in parallel, and that brings them roughly a hip width apart. Just give the toes a little wiggle. So try if you can to do the class in bare feet, because you just get a much better connection with the mat. And we use a lot of our, much more, we're going to use our posture muscles, our stabilizing muscles if you're in bare feet, if you can at all. The only exception I always say is that if somebody's wearing a pair of orthotics and they really need them, especially if they have a leg length discrepancy, keep the runners and orthotics on for the standing up stuff and take them off them when we're lying on the floor. Okay, so give our heels a little wiggle, just waking up those connections between our little intrinsic muscles in our feet and the floor. And let's just relax the feet and just sway from side to side, just working a little bit on transferring our weight from side to side. If you want to have a little play with this, you can imagine you're going to go a little bit too far and just have to catch yourself to come back again. And we're just switching on our little balance receptors. Okay, our little responses. Come back to the center. So just centering ourselves now on our 2 feet. We're just going to soften our knees a little bit. So we're going to start to engage these thigh muscles here that we're going to be working on quite a bit now in a minute. We'll pop our hands on our waist. And we're just going to tilt our pelvis forwards and backwards. So let's just free up any stiffness that's there in the lower back, pelvis, hips. Just working on range of movement and freedom of movement there. And if you feel you've been kind of holding your breath up to now, just have a little breath. Let the breath come in and out. Well done. Let's do 3 more of these, forwards and backwards. So we're starting to work the tummy here a little bit, and then the bum as well. Glutes and the abdominals. And then coming to the center here of our pelvic tilt. So halfway between forwards and backwards, whatever that is for you. We're going to familiarize ourselves with this area here where our ribs join up through in the middle here. Just put one hand there and one hand below our belly button, and just try and make sure those 2 hands are in line with each other. So if you feel that your upper body is leaning backwards, we're going to engage our tummy muscles and just bring our upper body forward so that it's just above our, under the lower half of our body, so that we have that rib down to hip connection through the abdominal muscles. Okay. From there, then we'll familiarize ourselves with our breastbone. Imagine that you have a locket hanging around your neck here, and you're just going to lift that breastbone up towards the ceiling. We're relaxing our shoulders down away from our ears. Our palms are facing in towards our legs. We're going to lift up the back of our head, and we're going to drop our chin down as if it's resting onto the top of an imaginary grapefruit. And just connect the top of your head, the crown of your head, up towards the sky as tall as you can manage. Okay, and holding there. We're going to take a nice deep breath into our nose. And out through our mouth. And in. And out. Trying to direct the air and the movement to the sides of our lower rib cage. And out. And one more time in. And one more time out. Lovely. From here, we're going to bring chin to chest and look up to the ceiling. So we're going to put our neck through its full range, forwards and backwards. And even when we bring our chin to our chest, you might even feel a stretch down further down through the thoracic, maybe even into your lower back. That's really good. We're loosening out all that nerve tissue all down through the spine. Lovely. And these warm us up then for the things we're going to do in a little while. So just reset a little bit, have our chin down on the imaginary grapefruit, back of our head lifted, and we're going to turn and turn. Now, if you're prone to dizziness or vertigo, just take your time. It's not a race. We're just moving. Lovely. And again, if you feel like you're holding your breath, just try and take a breath whenever you can manage it in with the movement there. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just a little reset here again, chin down, crown of the head lifting up, neck lengthening and side bending. Now with this, we want to make sure that the shoulder isn't kind of popping up with us. So what we can do is we can work our fingertips down to the mat and just anchor our shoulders down into our armpits. And we're just looking straight ahead. The chin is resting on the top of that grapefruit, and just the head is tipping from side to side. Lovely. Such a lovely stretch. We'll do one more each way. Lovely. And bringing our head back to the center. We're just going to do some big juicy shoulder rolls. Okay, up and back. Let's do two more like this. And then we're going to go up and forwards. And don't be alarmed if you hear some kind of popping noises around your shoulders, your middle back. This one is perfectly normal. It's just little stiff areas moving, that's all. I'm starting to get a little bit warmer now as well. And let's change direction again one last time, up and back. Nice and big and juicy. And actually, it's surprising with this one how kind of tiring it is. I always think it's one of those exercises, if you walked into a room and you saw people doing it, you kind of think that's absolutely not even an exercise. But actually, the tops of your shoulders can get quite tired. Let's try 4 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. So lots of strengthening there, and we're breathing in. And blowing out. Breathing in through the nose. Shoulders down, shoulders down, shoulders down, shoulders down. Blowing out. Breathing in. Blowing out. One more time. Breathing in. Blowing out. Lovely. Okay, well done. We are going to take our band in our hand now. If you want to take a little sip of water now, you can. We're just going to go into a full sequence with the band for our shoulders and upper body. Okay, so this is the one where we go over the top, okay? So we're going to take the band and roll it twice at one end and once on the other. Yeah, and you can actually adjust it then once you get going if you want to maybe lengthen the band a bit or shorten the band a little bit, okay? Right, so we've got the band wrapped up once on one end and twice on the other end. We're standing with our feet hip width apart. Knees are a little bit soft, so the thighs are working, trying to get into our pelvic neutral. So we've got a good stance. Remember with this one, 2 big things really. Shoulders down. You don't want to be lifting up with the shoulders up towards your ears. Shoulders down. So you're going to actively do that because that won't happen on its own. So we need to push down into our armpits. And then pretend that you don't have elbows at all. So I always kind of think of a snowman with 2 twigs sticking out of the body, and you've just got 2 twigs for arms. You don't even have elbows, okay? So you're going to go up over the head and back behind you. And you want to do a full arc of movement here. So you want to touch your bum with the band and then lift it up and over and touch the fronts of your thighs with the band, okay? So this is just for starters, just to get everything loosening out. So we're really working the shoulders here. Not a lot of power required. It's really a mobility piece, but we are engaging the muscles, and you'll feel as you go back behind your body, you're really squeezing between. If you squeeze 2 shoulder blades together, and we're also working the extensors, so down through the backs of the upper arms, which are a problem area for every human. Biceps tend to be quite weak with everybody. So we're just starting the process here of getting those muscles to work. So let's try 4 more like this. Shoulders down and elbows straight. And 3 more. No magic breathing with this. If you find yourself holding your breath, just remember to breathe. 2 more. And 1 more time. Lovely. Okay, just give the shoulders a little wiggle. We're going to just progress that on from the doubles to the singles. So we're going to cock out one arm here, about 45 degrees, and just stick it out there. Elbow straight. You've made a little fist and you're going to punch it out in the air. And your job with that arm is just to try and keep it as steady as possible. So with Pilates, trying to stabilize through the shoulder here. Keep that shoulder down. And the other arm is going to do the movement, but you need to keep a half of your attention on this arm to hold it there. And we're going up and over. And again, touch the back of your bum there. And up and over, touch the front of your leg. You're kind of trying to split your brain a little bit here. Well done. We'll do 4 more. 2 straight elbows, 2 shoulders down. Trying to keep that arm stable as you can. 1 more time. Lovely. You want to give that arm a little rub. It's going to loosen out as we do the other side anyway. So again, make a fist. We're punching out at 45 degrees, shoulder down. So we're stabilizing through the rotator cuff here in the shoulder, working these triceps as well. So punching out into the air. Other arm stays straight as it goes up and over. What's really interesting to do something like this is how different it can feel on one side compared to the other side. So you might find you have one particular combination, you think, oh my goodness, that is quite wonky. So just try and be aware of it, don't beat yourself up. But what we're doing with Pilates is quite different to, you know, let's say other kind of types of training. We're working on those deep, stabilizing abilities. So slowly trying to just steady everything up, take your time and just work on the quality of your movement and try your best. So let's try 2 more here. Trying to keep that arm as steady as you can. If you feel it wiggling around. Last one. Lovely. And then just give yourself a little shaky shake, a little rub. We're going to do, just for fun, we always add in this at the end, this figure of 8. Okay, so there's much more movement with this one. There's much more twisting involved. Okay, so to give the thoracic a really nice bit of loosening. So one arm goes back and the other arm goes forward. So you see here, we're twisting. Have a bit of fun with it. The big thing I would say here is keep the 2 hips pointing forwards, but everything else can work away. Okay, so doesn't matter which arm goes forward, the other arm goes backwards. Again, 2 elbows are straight, shoulders are down. So we're trying not to hunch our shoulders up towards our ears. Okay, let's do 3 more pairs and just loosen everything out. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to change direction. So the arm that's going back is now going to be the arm that's going forwards. And we swap. So forwards with one arm and backwards with the other. We'll do 4 pairs here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lovely movement. Well done. And coming back up. Here we go. Okay. I'm just going to move the camera a little bit because we're going overhead now with the band. It's going to stay with the upper body for a little while. We're bringing the band overhead. Standing again with our feet kind of hip width apart, and we're going to side bend. Just really stretch out from your armpit down to your hip. You're trying to keep that foot planted on the floor, so you're really keeping that heel pushed down. Elbows are straight, and just try and lean as far as you're able there. Take a nice breath in and blowing out to come back up again. Breathing in, blowing out. Nice stretch, go as far as you're able to go. Breathing in, blowing out, and coming back up again. Trying to keep our shoulders down, elbows straight. We're side bending to the first side again. And then from here, then this arm, this lower arm, we're going to bring it down to touch our leg and back out again. We're doing 10 of these. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pull down strongly to your leg. 6. This arm here stays punched up to the sky. 7, 8. And try and keep your body facing forwards. 9 and 10. And coming back up again. Woohoo! And side bending. To the second side. Let's try and keep this arm up here really, really strong. This arm is straight and it's pulling down. 1. Try and side bend as much as you're able to. We have a really good lengthening on that side. 3. Punch that arm up towards the ceiling. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Coming back up. And coming back down again. Just give your shoulders a little rub and a little shake. Well done. Little sip of water. That's brilliant. We're going to put the band down for the moment, but we'll put it down at the end of our mat. Okay? Because we're going to use it in a little while. This isn't a full hour of band exercise. We're just incorporating the band today. Okay. Right. So we're going to stand, so if you've got your bands down that end, you're going to stand at the other end of your mat, okay? And we're going to pop our hands on the fronts of our thighs here. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. And blowing out, we're bringing our chin to our chest. Resting here, breathing in. Blowing out, we're just going to bend forwards. Bring our fingers down the fronts of our thighs to touch the fronts of our kneecaps. Keep your tummy nice and strong. Belly button pulled in. We've got our hands on our kneecaps and our chin is on our chest. We're just looking back at our legs here, breathing in. And blowing out to stay here. Breathing in. Blowing out to stay here. Breathing in. Blowing out to come back up again, but keep your chin super glued onto your chest. So we're using our hamstrings and our glutes to lift ourselves back up. And then we're going to lift our head up and roll our shoulders back. So it's really important to keep your chin tucked under, because that will make us use the back of our body to come back up again. Okay, we're going to go again. We're going to do, so say if that was a half of your range of movement, we're going to do 3/4. So wherever that you feel the 3/4 would be. Okay, breathing in. Blowing out, we're just going to bring our chin to our chest. Keep your shoulders down. Drop your shoulders. Breathing in. Blowing out to bend forwards. Sliding our hands down our thighs, past our kneecaps, 3/4 the way down into our own movement there. Feel how the stretch changes. Feel how it moves down more, possibly into your legs. Let's just stay here, breathing in. Blowing out to stay. Breathing in through your nose. Blowing out through your mouth. Breathing in. And blowing out to come back up again. Just keep your chin stuck to your chest. Hamstrings are working, bum is working, back extensors are working. We're just stacking back up again. Pull the bum in under you. And then when we're fully upright, we're going to lift our chin off our chest to look forwards and roll our shoulders back. Okay, really, really important exercise, this one. So we'll go again. We're going to go to the full range that you've got, whatever that is. You might be touching your ankles, you might be touching your toes. If you're touching the floor really comfortably, walk your hands around to the backs of your heels and just try and fold over. Just see where you're at, okay? Breathing in. Blowing out for chin to chest. Staying here. Breathing in. Blowing out to bend forward, sliding our hands down our thighs, our kneecaps, our shins. Sliding down to wherever you're comfortable to finish the movement. Hanging the top half of your body over your legs. So there's a dangling kind of quality to this movement. Your head is heavy. Your chin isn't on your chest at this point. It's just hanging, okay? Your arms are hanging too. Your knees are straight. And you're just hanging over your legs. And wherever you're reaching, that's absolutely fine. And just take a nice deep breath in here, in through your nose. Blowing out, we're going to use the out breath to deepen the stretch a little bit. So breathing out to let go a little bit more of the tension in possibly the hamstrings, the calf muscles possibly as well. Trying to straighten out our knees a little bit more to deepen that stretch at the backs of our legs, okay? Breathing in. Blowing out to deepen. Breathing in. Blowing out to deepen. Then move your head a little bit from side to side. Try and turn your head. Let go of any tension in the back of your neck. We're breathing in again. And we're going to blow out and pin our chin to our chest again and peel ourselves back up again, keeping our knees straight. So we're using really strongly using our hamstrings. It's amazing to strengthen the hamstrings and the glutes, to restack our body back upright again. Bum pulls in under us, so really use the glutes here. Lifting our chin off our chest, and we roll our shoulders back. Okay. We're going to do one more of these. We're going to end up on the floor. Okay, so breathing in. Blowing out chin to chest, and down we go. Now we are going to touch the mat here. So just bend your knees a bit, and we're going to touch the mat. I'm just going to walk ourselves out onto hands and knees. We're not going to stay here. We're going to end up just sitting on the floor with our feet in front and our feet a bit of a distance. We're going to loosen out our hips a little bit. We're going to put our hands behind us here. Lift our chest up towards the sky, shoulders down, neck is long. And we're just going to work the hip joints here. So just take your time on the first one because it might be a bit sticky. So we're dropping our two knees to one side in a position where this kneecap is right beside or level with the sole of this foot. Okay, so you might have to just rearrange yourself a little bit to make that happen. Up and over to the other side. Same thing there. Knee is really beside, not touching, but level with the sole of the other foot. So that might mean pulling that leg up, a bit closer, or doing something with this leg. So we're just working on big, deep, juicy movements in the hips. So for us physios, just to give you an insight into the way we think, the thoracic spine and the hip movements are essential. If the thoracic isn't moving and the hips aren't moving, we're literally at nothing to try and get the tummy to work or the bum to work or any of the stabilizers or the pelvic floor. So very, very important to keep your hips moving, not just for your hips, but for your whole body, because everything kind of fires from there. And same with the thoracic as well. So that's why we try and keep the thoracic mobile, upright, and able to twist as well, because those movements are just so important. So nice to do a little bit on your thoracic and your hips every day. If you can at all, this is a good one. And if you hear a few clicks and clacks here, that's all right too. Popping noises, that's absolutely fine. Nothing to worry about. Okay, have a little sip of water while we're here. We'll go on to the next bit. Our quads focus. Okay. So with this, we're going to do some straight leg raising. I know we do work on quads a lot in a lengthening way and things like squats and pliés and things like that and lunges. We're going to work on the quads in a shortening way today. Okay. So either you can do these exercises like this with your hands behind you. That's absolutely fine. Or you can put your back to your door or your wall. What I would say is that if there's people out there in your house that might come in, maybe I warned everybody, but don't put your back against the door if somebody might barge into the room or the space that you're in, okay? Just think of safety. So otherwise I would do it this way. All right. I might do it this way so you can see a little bit better, but just make sure if you have your hands behind you that you're lifted through your chest, shoulders are down, posture, 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 okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to start there. You won't really see a big movement from me with this. We're just going to start by squeezing the thigh muscle here. Maybe just pick one leg and just squeeze the thigh and release it. Squeeze and release. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to scrunch up the muscle on the front of your thigh here. It's called a static quad, okay? And I would imagine that everybody in this group is able to do that. But if there's any problems at all, just drop me an email and say, I wasn't really sure what you're asking us to do or whatever. Squeeze and let go. And just try one leg on its own, just so you can really concentrate on it. What you're trying to do is flatten your knee down onto the floor. Okay. Squeeze and let go. And just do a few on the other side as well, just to wake up the quadriceps in a shortening way. Lovely. Try 5 more on that leg. Just static quadriceps, just getting this muscle. Give this muscle a little bit of attention. We did a nice bit of work on the calves the last day, so we're just coming up through the legs into the different muscle groups. And it's nice to familiarize ourselves with what our muscles are doing. Okay, so we're going to come back to the first leg and we're going to work on some straight leg raising, but we're going to bend the other knee. The reason we're doing that is just to support the lower back and sort of tilt the pelvis a little bit. I wouldn't do a straight leg raise with the other leg straight because it's quite heavy on the back. So bend up the other knee, make sure your posture is good. And you're going to tighten your thigh muscle here on the straight leg, flex your foot towards your face and do a little lift in the air and back down again. So it's harder than it's harder than you think. So tighten and lift. And it's only a tiny little lift in this position. We're not looking to achieve a huge amount. Tighten and lift. Maybe trying to lift about an inch off the mat, an inch or two. If you can keep your tummy strong, that's really good as well. Try and pull in the tummy in this position and try and sit up nice and tall. Tighten and lift and lower. And tighten and lift and lower. We'll do 5 more here. Just take your time. Lovely. 3 more. Trying to keep your leg dead straight. And we're going to swap. And again, if you have any trouble with this one, just give me a shout. Let me know later. We're going to tighten the quad, flex the foot towards the face, and lift and lower. And again, really interesting, just like with the shoulders, is there a difference between one leg and the other leg? Is there a weakness there? Is there a muscle imbalance? If so, is there a reason for that? Have you had a knee issue? Have you had a hip issue? Have you had a back issue on that side? A foot issue? Have you had surgery? What's going on? Lovely. Tighten and lift. Let's try 3 more. Now we're going to swap over to the first leg. Okay, just for a little bit of fun, we're going to just draw a couple of shapes. We're going to do a straight leg raise. So just lift your leg in the air. And we're going to draw 5 circles in a clockwise direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And have a little rest there. Then we're going to draw 4 squares in an anti-clockwise direction. So tighten the leg, flex the ankle, lift up, and we're going to draw 4 squares in an anti-clockwise direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest back down again. Give your legs a little shake. We're going to draw 3 triangles in a clockwise direction. So lifting up. 1, 2, 3. Well done. And let's finish with drawing a star. 1 star, okay? Whatever way you want to do it, if it's the 2 triangles interlinked or an asterisk, you can do an asterisk if you're feeling a bit tired of drawing shapes. Okay, and let's swap legs. So let's do 5 hearts. Sit up nice and tall, shoulders down, lifting our leg in the air, nice and straight, and draw 5 love hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, resting down. Give it a little shake. Okay, we're going to draw 4 rectangles in an anti-clockwise direction. So lifting up 4 rectangles. 1. Shoulders down if you can. 2. 3. 4. Give it a little shake. We're going to draw 3 circles in a clockwise direction, lifting up. 1, 2, 3, and resting down. Well done. And we're going to draw 1 flower. You get as creative as you want here. The center of the flower and all the petals, and maybe even the stem and some leaves. See what you can manage. Okay. Lovely. Try and breathe if you can, and let it go. Well done. So let's just come to the center here. We'll bring the soles of our feet together, hold on to our toes, sit up nice and tall, and let's give the hips a really nice stretch. Well done. I made the mistake of drawing a chrysanthemum there, which has a lot of petals. I should have picked something simpler, really. A tulip next time, I think. Just try and really release any tightness around the hip areas there. So that's a really special focus on the quadriceps there, okay? I would think if you're going to feel sore anywhere at all in the next day or two, it'll be there, okay? So just be gentle, be nice to the area, give it a bit of a rub, and a little bit of even just sitting down like this on the floor and releasing your hips, really nice to do. We'll stretch out the quads at the end as well, okay? So tummy now, have a little drink of water. We have a bit to do with the tummy. Starting with our scissors. So we're lying down on our back. Okay. Pilates position. Head directly on the mat if you can at all. Head is in line with the center of the body. So just check that you're not off to one side. Knees are bent up, feet are flat. Our knees are at a 90-degree angle. So we don't want to have our heels too close to our bum. Bring them out. Knees at 90. Our knees are hip width apart. Our feet are hip width apart. And our feet are parallel to each other. We're going to tilt our pelvis forwards and backwards again, just like we did when we were standing up. And just mobilize pelvis, loosen things out, and rediscover our pelvic neutral. So we're just going to find the mid position here between forwards and backwards. If you place one hand behind your lower back here, I always find that quite helpful, and the other hand on the tummy. So you can just monitor that you're holding yourself in neutral and you're not allowing that to slide while you're doing the exercise. So we're going to build this up. We'll just start at level 1 scissors. Okay, so holding our pelvis in neutral, all we're going to do is just pick up one foot and bring it up here to single tabletop. So one knee is over the hip. It's not coming up. It's just coming over, the knee is over the hip and the knee is at 90 degrees. And then we just put it back down again and swap. So this is not physically a difficult exercise particularly. What it is that it's very technical. And it's just getting us into the discipline of scissors for the levels that we're going to do next that are harder. So picking up into single tabletop, back down again, single tabletop, back down again. There's not really a tendency to lose your pelvic neutral in this position. So that's not something that you would be inclined to do really, because it's not too challenging yet. We don't need to move. We don't feel the need to move. But what we do want to do is figure out what's happening here at the knee. So as you pick your foot up, your knee is at 90 degrees here on the floor. Your knee stays at 90 all the way through and all the way back down again. So this is all about control and stability and technique and doing it properly. Okay. So we're not lifting our leg in the air and doing that. Okay. And we're not lifting our leg in the air and ending up out there. So basically, if you imagine, like we were saying with the snowman arms, that you don't have elbows, If you can just imagine that your knee is in a brace and you're not allowed to move your knee at all you're actually doing here then is folding at the hip. You're just folding at the groin. Okay. So from there, we're going to do level 2, which is up, staying up. Other one comes up. Then the first one comes down. And the second one comes down. But all the same principles apply. We're at our 90-degree angle there. We're up, up, down, down. Just stay with the same leg leading, whatever leg you started with, because we're going to swap in a minute anyway. Down, down. And now you will have a kind of temptation to arch your back, but we're not going to do that. Just try and go against that tendency. Let's do 2 more on this combination. So you really feel when you lift that second leg that your tummy is working quite hard. And when you put that first foot back down again, so that's fairly easy. That's more challenging. That's more challenging. And that's fairly easy. Okay. Up, up. Down, down. Let's swap legs. So the leg now that's tipping down now is going to lead the next few. Up, up. So the first foot comes up, then the second leg, then the first leg goes down, then the second leg. Okay. Up, up, down, down. So this is technically, this is for dynamic pelvic stability, but it's really coming from the tummy muscles. Let's do 2 more. Up, up, down, down. One more time. Up, up, down, down. Lovely. At that point, let's take our hand out from our lower back, hug our 2 knees up towards our chest, and just give ourselves a little recovery break. We're going to stick with the scissors for a little while. We're going to do level 3 next. Well, let's just give ourselves a little recovery, knees to chest, and then rock from side to side. If you're feeling any tension in your lower back, just give that a little release. And we're going to roll. And change direction. Now, if you want to do a little bit of a twist as well, this is a good time to do that. Just release any tension through the lower back that you've got there, okay? Okay, so back into our Pilates position again. Head in line with our body. Head nice and straight, just make sure you're centered. Your knees are bent up to 90 degrees. Knees are hip width apart, feet are hip width apart and parallel to each other. So level 3, we're going to come up to double tabletop. We're here. Actually, sorry, pelvic, fix the pelvis there, hand on hand. Single tabletop, double tabletop. This is our starting position now for level 3, okay? You can already feel it before we do anything, the tummy is on, okay? Try and keep the deep tummy muscles working. So imagine you're trying to get into a tight pair of jeans, or you're trying to just pull your tummy, your belly button away from the elastic of your shorts or your tracksuit, whatever you're wearing today. And from there then, so we've got the deep tummy muscles engaged and we've got the surface muscle engaged. From there, we're going to keep our legs the way they were, 90 degrees. We're just going to tap the floor and pick it back up again. And swap. So nice and slowly, pick it back up again. Tap and lift and tap and lift. We'll do 4 more pairs. 1 and lift and 2 and lift. 3 more pairs. 1 and up and down and up. 2 more pairs. Up and down and up. And 1 more pair. Down and up and down and up. And again, recovery. So quite a challenge on the tummy muscles there on our level 3 scissors. And I love these as tummy options because there's no lifting of the head in this particular one. So it's great to have lots of options to strengthen the tummy that don't involve sit up after sit up after sit up. We are going to do some sit ups in a minute, but this is a lovely option for someone who doesn't want to lift their head up, or who can't lift their head up, or doesn't like to lift their head up. I am one of those people. I'm getting to like it a little bit more, but it's been lovely to have options. Okay, we're at 90 degrees here. Again, level 4 is really closely related to level 3, okay? Knees are hip width apart, feet are hip width apart, feet are parallel. Let's just rediscover our pelvic neutral here. One hand in behind, one hand at the front. Let's come up into our double tabletop position. Now they say with double tabletop, you should be able to hold your chin on your shin. So your two shins should be so parallel to the surface of the floor, you should be able to rest a tray of drinks on it. Now with level 4, with level 3, we tapped, came back, and tapped, came back. With level 4, there's constant movement. So one foot is down. As that foot is coming up, the other one is already going down. And swap. You can see it becomes more like, why would it be called the scissors? Okay. And up. We're going to do 5 pairs. Breathing in one way, breathing out in the other. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Bringing our knees to our chest for our recovery. Well done. Level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Scissors. Tick. Well done. So just give your back a little recovery stretch, rocking from side to side, and a bit of circling. Tends to be tension in the lower back that gets in the way of the tummy exercises. So if we get some, just change direction there, if we get some recovery breaks, we get a lot more work done. So again, this is quite a nice time to do a bit of a twisting movement here on the floor, just in case you feel that you're building up a little bit of tension in the lower back there. Maybe give your back a little rub, a little kind of a scratchy rub as well, if you are, okay? So here we're into our sit-ups. So staying with the tummy, exactly the same thing again. Head in line with the center of the body. We have our knees bent up at 90 degrees, knees hip width apart, feet hip width apart, and feet are parallel. We are going to rediscover our pelvic neutral again. So tilting forwards and backwards and finding that mid position. And just check that. Now we can't have our hands in there this time. We're going to interlace our fingers and put them behind our head. So the safety and comfort of the neck is of paramount importance here. And this is a Pilates style sit-up. It's not a huge movement. Our elbows are going to stay well away from each other out to the sides, but still in our peripheral vision, okay? We're breathing into our nose. As we breathe in, we're going to lengthen our neck and bring our chin to our chest. Just like we've done with all the exercise with spinal roll downs earlier, chin to chest, okay? And our neck is nice and long and our chin is on our chest. Blowing out, we're going to pin our lower ribs down into our stomach. Pin our lower ribs down, and we're going to sit up without losing the gap behind the lower back. We're just looking at our knees. We're breathing in here, and we're blowing out to come back down again. So you want to imagine that you've got something very delicate in behind the small of your back, like a creamy puff pastry cake or something, and you don't want to squish it. So it is a bit of a weird feeling because you're sitting up without flattening your back. So it goes against a lot of the way most of us have learned how to do a sit-up. So technique, technique, technique. We're going to stay at this pace for a few. Breathing in to lengthen our neck and bring our chin to our chest. Blowing out to pin our lower ribs down in front and to sit up to look at our knees without losing that gap behind our lower back. Breathing in to stay here. Blowing out to come back down again. Breathing in to prepare our neck. Blowing out for ribs and sit up. Look at our knees. Breathing in here. Blowing out to come back down again. Breathing in. Blowing out. Holding here, breathing in. Blowing out. We're going to do 2 more at this pace. Breathing in to prepare our neck. Blowing out to sit up. Holding here, breathing in. Blowing out. One more time, breathing in. Blowing out. Holding here, breathing in. Blowing out to come back down again. Lovely. Knees to chest for recovery. We're going to come back into the sit-ups again, but we're going to, that's a slow pace sit-up. And we're going to do just a normal pace sit-up. So we're going to prepare our neck at the beginning, and then we're going to keep our chin on our chest for the whole time. So we won't be putting our head back down again, lifting it back up again, okay? But I'll talk you through it. All right, little rock and roll here, rocking from side to side and rolling. And change direction. Not as heavy on the lower back here. It's much more about the neck really, okay? Just protect the neck. So again, knees at 90, knees hip width apart, feet hip width apart, interlace our fingers to the back of our head. Our elbows are in our peripheral vision. We're in our pelvic neutral. We're breathing in to prepare our neck. So breathing in to lengthen our neck and bring our chin on our chest. And we're going to stay there now, okay? Chin to chest the whole way. Blowing out, we're going to pin our ribs down and sit up to look at our knees. Blow out, blow out, blow out, blow out, blow out. Breathing in, we're just going to rest our shoulders back on the mat, but we're not going to rest our head. Blowing out for ribs and sit up. Breathing in to come down. Blowing out to come up. Breathing in to come down. So our neck is long and our chin is on our chest, and we're fully supporting the weight of our head with our interlaced fingers. Blowing out. Breathing in. Blowing out. Breathing in. Keeping our elbows out to the sides. You can still see them, but they're out to the sides. Blowing out. Breathing in. Blowing out. Breathing in. And really pinning our ribs down in front just as we're sitting up. So blowing out, pin the ribs down and sit up. Breathing in to come back down, just shoulders. Blowing out. Let's stay here and take a breath in. Blowing out, we're going to do 10 little pulses. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold it. We're breathing in. We're blowing out. And we're resting down. And just to give your lower ribs there and your upper abdominals, because that's really the target for those exercises, give those a nice rub. If they're feeling a little bit hot, a little bit achy after that. And let's do a recovery stretch here. So bringing our knees to our chest. Well done. And then we're going to rock from side to side. So we're doing a really nice focus on the tummy at the moment. And then let's make a circle. And then change direction. And again, if you want to, if you feel compelled to do a little twist, you can do that now. And let's roll onto one side actually, come up into sitting and have a little sip of water. We'll do a little bit of planking. Again, we're staying with the tummy. But there's a lot of shoulders there as well. Perfect. We're planking on all fours here. Okay. We're on our hands and knees. Hands are under our shoulders. Knees are under our hips. Toes are tucked under. Let's just do the setup here. Again, planks are actually quite neck friendly. Quite a good way to strengthen the tummy and quite friendly to the neck, I find. Once we're in the right position. So we're going to lengthen our neck again. We're going to look at that space down between our two hands. Our fingers and thumbs are spread out like a fan. And we're going to turn our elbows a little bit so that the soft part of our elbows are coming forwards. And the line, the crease is coming forwards, okay? Shoulders down, toes tucked under. And we're just going to discover our pelvic neutral here. So just tilting the pelvis forwards and backwards a few times. Find that movement and find that mid position, okay? That's the position we want to plank in. So shoulders down, neck is lengthened, breathing in to prepare. And blowing out, all we're going to do is just lift our two knees in the air, just an inch. And we're going to stay here, breathing in. Blowing out. And resting down. Okay? And again, breathing in. Blowing out to lift. I'm going to stay a bit longer, breathing in. Blowing out. Breathing in. Blowing out. And resting down. Let's untuck our toes and sit back into our child's pose. Now, it could be the type of child's pose that you just rest on your elbows and give your wrists a bit of TLC. So just give your wrists a little bit of kindness and attention. And if you think the plank we were pushing back, so maybe just work on the forward bending as well in the wrist there, just to have a little bit of recovery and rub the joint area. Just get rid of any tension that's there. And we're dropping our hips then back to our heels. And if you want to give your lower back a little release. So we said we'd come back to the resistance band just to do one more little thing. So again, this is quite tummy-ish as well, okay? One last little thing to do. So we're just going to run the band along the length of our mat on one side. It doesn't matter which one. Now, what I've learned to do with this one is pull the band right up this end here. And we're going to kneel one knee on the band and grab it with the same hand, like so. Okay? So we're on our hands and knees, and our knee is on the band, and the same hand is on the band as well. And what we're doing is we're doing a forward reach here, and then putting it back down again. Now, this is quite planky for the tummy. That's why I want to add it in today. Reaching forward, but very good for the shoulder as well. Just watch that you're not hunching up your shoulder up towards your ear. So you're just trying to reach, and you can decide yourself on what level of tension you want in the band. So you can kind of lengthen the band if you want to and need to, okay? Let's try 4 more. And down. And the other arm is getting a really nice little bit of weight bearing as well. So it's really good for the bone density on the opposite hand as well. 2 more. You're obviously trying to keep your body in the same position. So you're not trying to reach and then kind of like totally fall over to one side. Lovely. And keep the band where it is. Just turn around and just bring the band up the other end. And you're swapping sides. And hold on to it there with a little fist. Just set yourself up again, hands and knees, and shoulders down, neck is long, looking at that space on the mat between our 2 hands, and reach and lower. We're doing 8 here. You can make it as hard or as easy for yourself as you like. Blowing out with the effort. Breathing in to come down. 3 more. Little bit of back extensor work going on here as well. 1 more time. Lovely. And we're going to come back into child's pose. This time a proper child's pose. We're sitting back on our heels, walking our fingers out away from our head, and rest our forehead on the mat. So we've got that 2 directions happening. Our fingers are moving away from our head. Our bum is moving back towards our hips. So we're lengthening through the spine and through the shoulders as well. And the hips and the knees and the ankles and the elbows and the fingers, everything really. Breathing in. Blowing out to deepen at one end or the other. So either walk your fingers away from your head a little bit more or bring your hips back to your heels a little bit more. Breathing in. Blowing out. Breathing in. Blowing out, we're going to bring our hands back towards our knees. Tuck our toes in under. And we're just going to sit on our hunkers here. And just give our knees a hug. If your knees are happy to do so. Breathing in. Blowing out. Breathing in. Blowing out. This is really good for your digestion. You're just compressing through your gut. Breathing in. With the breathing, we're going to put our fingers on the mat, straighten out our knees, and hanging over our two straight knees now. Head is heavy, just like we did earlier. We're coming back the way we came. Breathing in. Blowing out. Breathing in. Deepening as we blow out. Our arms are dangling. Just roll your head from side to side. Your head is heavy. Breathing in. Blowing out. Well done on all the work. Well done. Breathing in. Blowing out, we're going to bring our chin to our chest. And with two straight knees, we're going to peel ourselves back up using the backs of our legs to lift ourselves up and our back extensors. Lovely, lovely. When we're fully upright, we have our bum tucked in. We're going to lift our head up and roll our shoulders back. Well done. We'll just do a small little cool down now. So we're resting onto the ball of our foot and we're circling. Well done, everybody. Super duper. And change direction. And change foot. And change direction. It's actually interesting to look at that movement on the screen because there's a lot happening. It's not just the foot. Isn't it? The hip even moves and everything. It's actually really interesting to see it. Okay. Feet together, knees together. We're just going to bend and straighten our knees. And now bend your knees and just circle. And change direction. And coming up, we're going to separate our feet here and do a big hula. As big a circle as you can manage. Change direction. Lovely. And breathing in. And out. Breathing in. And out. Let's take one foot into our hand here. Let's just stretch these quads a little bit. So we're going to bring our heel to our bum. Keep our two knees together. And stand up nice and tall. You need to hold on to something for balance, do. Sometimes just holding on to your own earlobe can work wonders. And you're trying to just give your bum a little squeeze on that side, just to draw your hip forwards a little bit, keeping your two knees together. And just feel a nice stretch down through the front of your thigh there. Breathing in. And out. And in. And out. And swap. The balance challenge for today as well. Two knees together. Heel to bum. Grow nice and tall. And try and squeeze the glute on the side that you're bending. Breathing in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. And one more little arm raise. Breathing in. And out. And well done. Thank you so much. I'm just going to stop the recording there.